You open your eyes for the first time on a planet that is trying to kill you. Not dramatically, not with monsters or wars or the specific violence that will define most of what comes later. Tatooine kills you slowly and practically, through heat and thirst and the grinding arithmetic of what things cost versus what you have available to pay for them. Two suns that give you no relief from each other. Sand that gets into everything, including the mechanisms of the machines you depend on and the lungs of the people who depend on you. A planet that was not built for human life and has never adjusted its opinion on the matter. You are born into this alongside your brother. Anakin comes first. You come second. This order of arrival will prove to be the defining fact of your shared existence for reasons neither of you can yet understand, because the galaxy has a plan for Anakin Skywalker that was written before either of you opened your eyes on this desert world. And the galaxy did not account for the fact that Anakin Skywalker was not going to arrive alone. Your mother is Shmi. She is the most capable person on Tatooine in the specific sense that capability matters most, which is the sense of surviving what the planet and the circumstances and the ownership of Watto have to offer, and doing it with a dignity that the circumstances have no right to expect of her. She loves you both with the completeness of someone who has decided that love is the one resource that does not have a supply problem, regardless of what everything else is doing. Watto owns you. This is a fact of your existence the way the two suns are a fact of your existence, present and permanent, and not something you spend energy being angry about, because anger on Tatooine is a luxury that costs more than it produces. You work, you learn, you accumulate knowledge and skill, because knowledge and skill are the only things in the galaxy that cannot be confiscated by a Toydarian who smells of engine grease and profit. Anakin builds things. This is the simplest true statement about your brother. He looks at pieces of metal and wire and circuit boards and sees what they are supposed to become before they become it. The protocol droid in your workshop is not assembled from junk. It is assembled from Anakin's understanding of what the junk was always going to be. He builds and fixes and improves with the specific joy of someone for whom the making of things is not work, but expression. You understand things. This is the simplest true statement about yourself. Where Anakin looks at a broken part and sees how to fix it, you look at a person and see what they want and what they fear and what they are about to do before they do it. This is not a skill you developed deliberately. It arrived in you the way most true skills arrive, gradually and without announcement, until one day you simply noticed that you had always been able to do it. The combination of you is the reason your small corner of the slave quarter runs as well as it does. Anakin keeps the machines working. You keep the people manageable. Watto gets what he wants from both arrangements and considers himself fortunate and does not think particularly hard about what makes two slave children this effective, because Watto's relationship with thinking hard about things is limited to the things that affect his profit margin. Tatooine teaches you specific lessons. It teaches you that resources are finite and must be managed with precision. It teaches you that the visible threat is rarely the most dangerous one. It teaches you that the people with power over you are usually less intelligent than they believe themselves to be, which is useful information that must be stored carefully because acting on it too visibly costs you more than the acting is worth. It teaches you that watching is more powerful than speaking in most situations, and that when speaking is necessary, speaking with certainty produces better outcomes than speaking with volume. You learn all of these things before you are 9 years old. You learn them the way children learn things when the circumstances of their education are extreme, which is completely and without the luxury of forgetting. The day the Naboo ship lands in Mos Espa is a day like other days until it isn't. You are in the workshop when they come through the door. Anakin is at the front. You are behind him at the workbench with a component spread in pieces across the surface and your hands doing the assembly that your attention has already moved past because your attention has moved to the door. The woman is young and presenting herself as something other than what she is. You know this not because you have identified specifically what she is, but because you have been reading the gap between presentation and reality in people since you were old enough to understand that the gap exists. Her clothes say handmaiden, her eyes say something else. The man beside her has a stillness to him that is different from the stillness of people at rest. His stillness is the stillness of someone who is always at rest and therefore never not ready. The old Toydarian behind the counter moves through the negotiation with the practiced indifference of someone who believes he holds all the advantages. He is wrong about this. You can see that he is wrong about this from the way the tall man stands, from the way he chooses his words, from the specific quality of patience in him that is not the patience of someone waiting, but the patience of someone who knows how this ends. You put down your tools, you watch. Anakin talks. He talks the way Anakin talks, which is with the complete genuine enthusiasm of someone who has not yet learned that enthusiasm can be a disadvantage. He shows them the pod racer. He invites the girl to shelter from the storm with the directness of someone who does not understand social hesitation because no one taught him to hesitate. You watch all of this, and you think about the ship outside and the people inside it, and what they came to Tatooine to find, and whether they have found it. The storm breaks. You are all inside together. The man's name is Qui-Gon Jinn. The girl's name, the real one, you will learn later. That evening in the warmth of your home, you watch Qui-Gon watch Anakin, and you see in his face something that you have never seen in the face of anyone looking at your brother before. Recognition, not of Anakin specifically. Recognition of something in Anakin that Qui-Gon has a framework for and you do not yet have. Anakin shows him the droid. Anakin talks about the stars and what is beyond them, with the longing of someone born knowing he belongs somewhere other than where he is. Qui-Gon listens in a way that adults rarely listen to children, with his full attention and without the condescension that adults usually install between themselves and a 9-year-old slave's opinions about the galaxy. You sit in the corner and you watch all of it and you think. Then Qui-Gon takes a sample of Anakin's blood and you think harder. You know what midi-chlorians are. You found a reference to them in a technical manual 3 years ago, buried in a footnote about cellular biology and force sensitivity. And you read it twice and filed it away, because that is what you do with information that seems significant for reasons you cannot yet fully articulate. The test is quiet and quick, and Qui-Gon pockets the sample with the casualness of someone doing something routine and the carefulness of someone doing something important. You say nothing. The morning before the race, you are in the Ang-Ar when you hear them. 3 of Sebulba's crew, moving through the pre-dawn dark with the confidence of people who expect the spaces they move through to be empty. You know who they are, and you know what they are there to do, because Sebulba's relationship with winning is the relationship of someone who considers cheating a valid tactical approach, and has the resources to implement it consistently. You step out of the dark in front of them. You are 9 years old and small for 9, and standing in a dim hangar holding a hydrospanner, and the only asset available to you is the thing that has always been your primary asset, which is that you understand what people are afraid of before they understand it themselves. You look at the one in front. He is larger than you by a significant margin and employed by someone with considerably more power than a slave child, and has no reason to take you seriously. You speak. You don't raise your voice. You don't threaten specifically. You simply tell them, in the tone of someone describing a settled fact, that you have already documented their presence and their intentions, and that Watto's relationship with Sebulba will survive your testimony about tonight considerably better than Sebulba's relationship with the race officials will. You tell them this, while maintaining eye contact with the one in front, and you watch his confidence recalculate in real time. They leave. You go back to the pod. You run your own systems check. You double-check everything Anakin checked. You find nothing wrong, which is the outcome you wanted and confirms that you arrived in time. You sit with the pod in the quiet of the pre-race morning, and you think about what just happened and about the specific thing that happens when you speak to people in that particular way. The way certainty travels from you into them and reorganizes their intentions. You have always done this. You have always been able to do this. You have never known what it is. The race begins. You are at the communications terminal in the crew area with a headset on and Anakin's voice in your ear. And his voice, when the engines fire, is the voice of someone who has stopped being a child in that moment and become something that the circumstances of his life were always building toward. He is extraordinary on the track. You knew he would be extraordinary. You have always known this about him, but extraordinary is not invulnerable. Sebulba is on him in the 3rd lap. The crowd is screaming things that do not matter. What matters is the readout on the monitor and your brother's breathing in your ear, which is the breathing of someone managing fear and speed and a machine at the edge of its tolerances simultaneously. You start talking. You talk the way you have always talked to Anakin when the situation requires it, in the specific register that you discovered by accident years ago and have never fully understood. The register that travels straight past whatever noise is filling his head. and lands directly in the part of him that knows what to do. You tell him to breathe. You tell him to track ahead. You tell him that Sebulba is fast and Anakin is something different from fast. You watch the monitors and you talk, and you feel the strange thing that happens when you do this. The sense that your certainty is not just traveling through the communications channel, but traveling through something else, something that does not require the channel at all. Anakin wins. Qui-Gon comes to your mother that evening. You are standing in the doorway when he makes the offer, and you watch your mother's face do the thing that it does, the thing you have been watching her face do your whole life. The specific combination of love and grief that is the face of someone who has decided that the cost of the right thing is worth paying, and who is paying it right now in real time. He can take one of you. You watch Anakin's face. You watch him understand what is being offered and what the offer does not include. You watch the joy of freedom fighting with the specific guilt of someone who has never once considered a good thing for himself, without immediately measuring its effect on the people around him. You make the decision quickly and without consulting anyone, because there is no time and because the decision is the only one available that protects the thing you have always protected. You tell Anakin that Watto agreed to let you both go, just under different arrangements, just at different times, just temporarily separated by logistics that will resolve themselves. You say this with the voice, the one that travels through the channel and through the other things simultaneously. You say it looking directly at him. He believes you. He believes you because you have never lied to him. Because the voice you are using does not feel like the voice of someone lying. Because he wants to believe it, and you are giving him the permission to want what he wants without guilt attached to it. He leaves with Qui-Gon in the morning light, and his face is the face of someone going towards something he was born for. And you watch him go, and you do not let your face show what you are feeling, because your face has been an instrument of your survival for 9 years, and it is too well trained to betray you now. Then you go back inside and you pack the things that matter. The cargo hold of the Naboo ship is cold and smells of machine oil and the specific darkness of spaces that were built for cargo and not for people. You arrange yourself among the parts with the efficiency of someone who has slept in worse places, which you have, and you settle in for the duration. Qui-Gon finds you 3 hours into the flight. He stands in the entrance to the cargo hold and looks at you with the expression of someone encountering a situation they did not plan for and are now assessing. You look back. You say, "I couldn't leave him alone." You say it with the voice, not the manipulative version, the true version, the one that carries exactly what you mean and nothing else, and which, you have noticed, is sometimes more compelling than the other kind. Qui-Gon looks at you for a long time. He does not send you back. Tatooine is already behind the ship, and the hyperspace jump is already calculated, and sending you back is not a practical option. But it is an option he is turning over carefully and choosing not to take. He says, "You used something just now. When you spoke, you say, 'I speak clearly.'" He says, "More than clearly." He sits down across from you in the cargo hold and he asks you a question that no one has ever asked you before. Not about what you can do, about what it feels like when you do it. You answer honestly because Qui-Gon has the quality of someone that dishonesty slides off of. Not because he detects it, but because it feels pointless in his presence. You tell him about the certainty, about the way it moves, about the way it seems to travel through people rather than to them. He listens with the complete attention he gave Anakin in your home. He says nothing when you finish. He stands and moves toward the door. Then he stops and says, without turning, "There are no coincidences in the Force." You sit with that for the rest of the journey. Coruscant is the opposite of Tatooine in every direction simultaneously. Where Tatooine has sand and emptiness, and the brutal simplicity of a planet that never developed beyond its worst qualities, Coruscant has surfaces layered over surfaces layered over surfaces. Civilization accumulated until the original ground is buried under centuries of itself. You stand in the landing bay and look up at a sky filled with traffic, and you think about the specific quality of complexity that exists when too many things occupy the same space. The politics of the Senate chamber are the politics of too many things occupying the same space. You watch from the gallery while Amidala speaks to representatives who are not there to listen, and Chancellor Palpatine watches from his seat with eyes that see something different from what everyone else in the room is watching. You watch Palpatine the way you watch everyone, but more carefully. He looks at you once, just once, from across the chamber and at a distance that makes the looking technically ambiguous. But you have been reading looks for 9 years, and the look he gives you is the look of someone who noticed something they did not expect to notice and is filing it for later consideration. You file him back. The Jedi Temple is the first place in your life that feels like it was built for something that you might be part of. Not because it is grand, though it is. Not because it is peaceful, though it contains peace. But because the people in it carry themselves with the specific quality of people who understand what they are and are not performing it. Qui-Gon moves through the temple corridors with the ease of someone home. Obi-Wan Kenobi, who you meet for the first time in the corridor outside the council chamber, moves with the ease of someone who has been home long enough to take it somewhat for granted. He looks at you with the direct assessment of someone trained to assess, and is not particularly subtle about it. You look back with the assessment of someone trained by different methods toward the same end. You decide you like him. He decides something about you that his expression does not fully reveal. The council chamber is circular and filled with masters, and you stand in the center of it with your brother and feel the weight of many careful intelligences evaluating both of you simultaneously. Master Yoda's eyes move between you with something that is not quite symmetry. He sees something different when he looks at each of you. With Anakin, the attention is the attention of recognition, of something expected arriving. With you, the attention is different, slower, more questioning. He says, "Two sides of one coin, I see in you." The council debates. Anakin is too old for conventional training. His attachment is too present. His fear is too visible. These are the arguments against him. And they are not wrong arguments, but they are arguments being made about a person who is not going to be argued away from his destiny, regardless of what the council concludes. Qui-Gon argues for him, argues for both of you. He presents your case to the council with the specific stubbornness of someone who has made a decision and is informing the relevant institutions rather than requesting their permission. The council agrees to Anakin on the condition that Obi-Wan trains him. They agree to you on different terms. Qui-Gon has requested to take you as his own Padawan, which is unprecedented in its own way, a senior master taking a new apprentice when he already has one approaching knighthood. The council looks at this with the careful skepticism of people who have rules for good reasons and are encountering a case that the rules did not fully anticipate. Master Yoda says, "Different paths, these two will walk, together and apart." You do not know yet what this means. You file it. Naboo is wet and green and the most alive place you have ever been after 9 years of sand. You arrive into a situation that has been moving toward its conclusion while the Senate was performing its deliberations. And the Jedi were having their discussions, and you were watching all of it from the position of someone who arrived from outside the existing structures and has not yet been assigned a position within them. The Queen moves her pieces, the Gungan army, the palace, the diversionary assault, and the actual assault, and the plan within the plan that Padme Amidala has been running since before she put on a handmaiden's clothes in the first place. You understand the plan before it is fully explained because you have been watching her since the sandstorm in Mos Espa, and you have had the entire journey and the Coruscant visit to accumulate evidence about who she actually is. The battle spreads across the planet in 3 directions simultaneously. In the hangar, the pilots launch and Anakin is in one of the fighters, because Anakin is drawn toward the center of things, the way ships are drawn into a gravity well, through the operation of forces that are larger than individual intention. You watch him go and you think that this is either the beginning of something or the end of something, and you cannot yet tell which. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul find each other in the generator complex with the inevitability of things that were always going to find each other. You are with Qui-Gon, where you have been since the cargo hold. And the moment the Sith appears, you understand 3 things instantly. He is fast. He is precise. He has been waiting for this. The lightsabers ignite and the duel begins, and it is not a duel in any theatrical sense. It is the meeting of 2 fundamentally different relationships with violence. Qui-Gon's, which is reluctant and controlled, and Maul's, which is hungry and exact. You are not yet a Padawan in any formal sense. You have a lightsaber, the one Qui-Gon gave you on the ship when he decided he was taking you as an apprentice, and you know its basic operation and approximately none of its advanced application. You know this about yourself with complete accuracy. So, you do not fight. You run, not away. Parallel. Along the gantry above the generator cores, toward the control terminal that you identified, when you entered the complex, because you always identify exits and control systems when you enter spaces. It is the first thing you learned about surviving Tatooine, and it translates. The laser barriers cycle in their sequence. Red, pause, red, pause. The pattern is not random. Patterns are never random. You reach the terminal, and you open your portable splicer, and you work. The duel moves through the barriers in its own rhythm. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan separated by the cycling fields, Maul working each of them in the gaps. The system is designed with a logic that you trace backward from the outputs to the inputs and find the place where the inputs can be adjusted without triggering the security cascade. You make the adjustment. The barrier between Qui-Gon and the generator pit cycles early, not much, seconds. But the seconds are the seconds that the sequence needed, and Obi-Wan is already moving before the barrier finishes opening, and he reaches Qui-Gon before Maul can close the distance and the engagement resets. You stand at the terminal and look at what you did. You think, I calculated that correctly. Then you think, how did I know the precise moment? The answer arrives quietly. You were not calculating, you were feeling. The sequence of the barriers and the position of the fighters and the specific tension of the moment that needed the change were present in you the way things are present in you, when you concentrate completely, not as information processed, but as something already known. You file this under things to think about later. Qui-Gon survives with a burn across his shoulder from a blade that came closer than it should have. The Sith is driven back into a maintenance shaft. The battle in the palace concludes. The Federation's control droids collapse when Anakin destroys the control ship from the inside with the specific accidental precision of someone who is very good at things and does not yet fully understand why. The Senate chamber is afterwards. The Council chamber is afterwards. And the Council chamber contains Master Yoda and Master Windu, and the weight of a decision being made about two children from Tatooine, and what to do with them. Obi-Wan will train Anakin. This is settled before the room is fully assembled. Qui-Gon argued for it, and Qui-Gon is alive to see it decided, and this specific fact is the reason you do not spend more time thinking about what those seconds at the terminal cost you in terms of your own trajectory. He is alive. That is the outcome. The cost of it you will not calculate until much later. Qui-Gon will train you, officially now, formally. With the Council's approval, which was not easily given and came with conditions that Qui-Gon accepted and described to you afterward as reasonable, and that you suspect are more complicated than reasonable. You stand in the streets of Theed during the parade and you watch your brother on the platform above you. And you think about the arc of the last several days and what it has moved you toward and what it has moved him toward, and whether those two things are going to remain parallel or whether they were always going to diverge. Palpatine is in the crowd. You see him before he sees you, and then you are both looking at each other across the street, and the crowd moves between you. And he looks at you with the particular attention of someone who has encountered a variable they did not install in the system, and is determining its significance. You look back without expression. You are 9 years old. You have no lightsaber training. You have no formal Force education. You have nothing except the skills you built in 9 years of slavery, and the understanding, still new and unverified, that some of those skills run deeper than skill. He looks away first. You file that too. That evening, you find Anakin in the guest quarters of the Naboo palace. He is sitting on the floor looking at the droid he brought with him from Tatooine, the protocol droid that is not finished but is more finished than it was. And his hands are doing the thing they do when he is working through something that is not mechanical, which is moving without particular purpose, adjusting things that don't need adjusting. You sit beside him, you don't talk for a while. You have always been able to not talk with Anakin in a way that is comfortable rather than tense. The specific silence of two people who grew up in the same difficult and understand each other at the level below language. He says, I'm going to miss her. He means your mother. You know he means your mother. You miss her too in the specific way you miss things that you chose to leave, which is differently from the way you miss things that were taken from you. You say, we'll go back. He looks at you. You say, when we're Jedi, we'll go back and we'll free her. He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, you knew about the other conditions, didn't you? The ones Watto put on your freedom. You look at the droid. He says, you lied to me, so I would go. You say, yes. He is silent for a long time. the kind of silence that is doing work. Then he says, "Okay, just that. Okay." Because Anakin has always understood, without being told, that you lie to him specifically when the truth would cost him something you have decided he cannot afford to pay. He does not like it, he accepts it. The distinction is one of the things that makes him who he is. You sit together in the Naboo palace on the night after the battle and the night before the beginning of the rest of your lives, and you think about the man on the ship who said there are no coincidences in the Force, and about the barrier that changed 3 seconds early, and about the look on Palpatine's face when he looked at you in the crowd. You think about what you are. You think about what Anakin is. You think about the prophecy that Qui-Gon mentioned in the ship, the one about the chosen one who will bring balance to the Force. And you think about the specific arithmetic of prophecy and how it tends to work when the person at the center of it is not the only variable. You are not the chosen one. You have understood this from the beginning, from the moment Qui-Gon tested Anakin's blood and not yours, from the way the Council looks at your brother rather than at you. But you are here. And you have been here before, standing in the shadow of something large, watching from the position that gives you the full view. And you have learned that the position in the shadow is often the position from which the most useful things can be done. You will be a Jedi. You will train under Qui-Gon, and you will learn what your skills actually are and where they come from. You will watch your brother from the position you have always occupied, which is slightly to the left of the center of everything, with your eyes open and your mind working and your voice ready for the moment it is needed. That is what it means to be the twin who is not the chosen one. You are not the prophecy. You are the person standing next to the prophecy, making sure it does not destroy itself before it can do what it came to do. That is a different kind of important. You are beginning to understand that it might be the harder kind. Subscribe, because the galaxy is 10 years away from the war that will change everything. And you intend to spend every one of those years getting ready,